Hey everyone, welcome to the Current Surf Show. I'm your host, Old Surf Dad, and with me as always is T-Bone. T-Bone, how you going, mate?
I'm going fantastic, mate. I actually need to go home and go into a detox clinic. My body is filled with mulled wine and Jägermeister, but going excellent, going great guns, mate. It's been a fun Christmas time.
Yeah, and just to catch us up, you were in the Alps learning to snowboard and saw snow for the first time. Tell us about that.
It was a surreal feeling. It's something that it's been on my bucket list for probably 30 years. So it finally came, and yeah, it was surreal. I loved it. Yeah, it was just amazing. Yeah, I won't forget that day. It just came down. It was just bucketing down, and it was like something magic. Yeah, for definitely, I think for everyone's first time in the snow, they must get the same feeling. It's pretty cool experience to be in the mountains when it's snowing, and you know you're going to. It was unreal.
Yeah, I was so stoked for you. If you follow T-Bone at T-Bone Collector, you will see some of those photos and videos. It's beautiful. And we're about checking off bucket list items over here for sure. We're going to jump in, and the topic is Filipe Toledo and the comments he made on the ESPN Brazil broadcast. Let me pull that up for a moment. Where am I? Right here. And whoa, that's way down the line. I'm gonna let me get our slideshow set up. All right, so if I don't know if you heard about this when you were on vacation, or maybe you know what, this goes back a moment right before the holidays started, and T-Bone was on ESPN Brazil and got put into a precarious position. T-Bone, have you actually seen this broadcast? Because I'm going to play it.
I was looking for it actually. Initially, I thought this was just a prank. This was just like a clickbait. I couldn't believe it, but no, I haven't seen it because I couldn't find it. I was searching for it.
Well, guess what I have for you, T-Bone. Let's cue it up. Now, unfortunately, I can't play the sound because YouTube will ding me on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the sound off, but we don't need to translate this. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's at the beginning. We don't really. I'm going to reset it. All right. So the ESPN broadcaster asked him a series of he lines up a series of surfers, and you and I are going to watch as he discusses who he thinks he's better or worse than, or not better than. Are you ready? So the first one is Gabriel Medina. Do you think
Okay.
that he says he's better or worse than Gabriel Medina?
He would say he's worse.
And he would be correct, in my opinion. And he thinks about it, and you can see the little arrow down below says Gabriel Medina. Now, here's this one is great. Kelly Slater and Felipe Toledo. Is he better than
No,
Kelly
he's
Slater?
no. If we're
Well,
talking like the lifespan and the career and the accolades of Kelly, no.
very nice. And that's the same thing he does. He qualifies it. He goes, now, yes. But in
Oh,
the past, no way. So he's got that one correct. But he does say now. And so the
mm,
green check goes on Felipe. Look at him go. All right, next. And the next person, here it is, the one that's got everyone talking is Felipe and John Florence. And he does not take long. Watch this. They ask him, John Florence, and he looks up to the ceiling and he says, I'm better than John, right there. And it's in Portuguese, but he says it straight out. He doesn't take very long to think about it. And I have to
wow.
ask you, T-Bone, is he better than John?
Respect, with all my respect towards Philippe, no, he's not. He's not. He's definitely one of the top surfers in the world, but he's not. He can't match John. Um, yeah, no. I'll say no.
I agree with you, and I what I want to do, T-Bone, for one moment is what's really curious about this is not just the rivalry that has just been started. He's planted a seed I don't think he wants to see. But I want to run through the events real quickly, and let's talk about who's going to win between
Yeah,
John
good
and
idea.
Felipe. So here's Pipe. Pipe up first. Obviously, John, right? I mean,
You're killing.
yeah. Abu Dhabi. What do you think about that one?
Well, Philippe does pretty good in wave pool, so hey, that could go in. You'd lean towards Philippe because it plays. But hey, um, it can go either way though. John's no slouch either, but I would lean towards Philippe just.
I would take Felipe there. So, um, Portugal.
Jeez, it's just one of those spots, isn't it, mate, where you don't know what you're going to get. It's a
I
hit and miss.
agree.
It's a 50-50. It is a.
I think it
I
depends
don't
on the.
know the. Yeah.
Sorry, we have a little bit of delay, you guys.
I
T-Bone's currently in Hungary, in Budapest, and so there's a little bit of a delay. But anyway, depends on the waves. If you had to pick one right now, boom, who is it?
I'll go John.
I go John too. El Salvador. This is a fascinating one. El Salvador.
Ooh, it is. It is. It is.
Now, why is that so interesting? Because John won last
Oh,
year, but
it
Felipe
is.
won
It
in the
is.
past.
It is, and he's no. He's won J-Bay a couple of times. That's a tough one. That can play into both. I mean, I'd lean towards Philippe potentially. Once again, depending on the conditions, I'd actually lean towards Philippe, but that's a tough one though. It's a tough one.
Dude, it's so funny. I want to disagree with you on one of these. I feel the same way. I think
Cool.
Felipe wins that, and he wins that on air game. Not that John doesn't have it, but Yagadora nearly rolled everybody in that location.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that to Felipe. Bells. How about Bells?
Whew. Oh,
God,
mate,
that's
I'm gonna
tough,
go
man.
John. I'm gonna go John. Yeah, I'm gonna go John if it's Bell's Bowl, big, wild, woolly, cold, big open faces. I'd go John.
I'm going to go. I'm going to
Philippe's
go Felipe
good too.
there, just because Bell's on average just isn't that good. Now this year, the time frame that they've
True.
shifted it into, we should get good waves, but Bell's is one of those places that most of the time it's pretty average. It's head high, and average I mean fun, but not that Bell's Bowl happens once every what 5 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
something like that. But I agree with you if the surf's pumping. How about Snapper? What do you think about that one's so hard? They're all hard, aren't they?
Oh, mate, they are because I mean Philippe and John are in the top five of the world. It's neck and neck. It's so tight that level. It only becomes clear cut when it's Hawaii and chokes. But I won't. I'll say I'll say Philippe at snapper.
I'm gonna agree with you. And I want to stop now that we're halfway through the schedule. Not quite. How is Felipe going to do next year? He took a year off, and in this ESPN Brazil interview, he also talked about mental health and taking a year off. And I give him a lot of respect that he's very vulnerable about those issues, and it takes it. I don't know. It takes a lot to be able to be transparent like that. At the same time, he's got a lot of ego wrapped around, people questioning his big wave surfing. And I think it's interesting the Felipe character that is developing. And I just wish he'd come out and say, hey, I'm not good at big waves, but I'm practicing for it or something. But he is
Yeah.
in denial about his skills. But at the same time, like, the one guy who's transparent is also the same guy who claims he's better than John John. Your thoughts, T-Bone? How will he do next year?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean he'll finish top five. One
Mm.
year off is it's not like it's 5 years off. He'll. I don't think he'll miss a beat, to be honest. He may come, you know, determined to win another world title. He'll finish top five. I'll put money on
I'm
it now.
I'm
He'll be in the top five at
I'm
the end of the year.
thinking, will he finish top five? Yeah, I think he will. I think he's slipping a little bit and is out of competition kind of mindset, but I think it will come back. Let's go to the next one. Margaret's. Both of them have won. John's won
Well,
and Felipe's won.
yeah, it's hard to go past John. Hopefully,
Yeah,
it's 8 feet, and John's on the rights, laying big hammers.
and John's won in a much more impressive fashion. Although Felipe, I give him credit, when he won, it was pretty big. If you recall, the front end of that event, I think that was 3 years ago. But John is just—he's got that things that wave so wired.
I,
Trestles.
I
Oh, go
will.
ahead. Sorry. So
Who will win? John Felipe if it goes to the box.
that's a
Ask Jay
fact.
Davies.
We know we know the answer to that one. I mean, that is, if you talk about Achilles' heel, it would have to be the box for Felipe. That's funny. And are they
Yeah.
ever going to run out there? I doubt it, but it favors Felipe to stay.
Bring,
That brings us to the next one, which they've both won at as well, is Trestles. And I'm going to say I think that favors Felipe all the way, even though John surprised us all and won at Trestles in the finals. Your thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I think John's going to have his. I'm going John. I'm going to disagree with you and go John.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
he impressed me obviously this year, won his world title against a raging. I'm going to go John, and it's a big call, I know, but I'll go John.
Nice, dude. How about Rio de Janeiro? And again, has Felipe's never won there, I believe. And John did, but it was in the beach break. It wasn't at the Saquarema location that it is now. So I guess that doesn't really count. Who would you take there? I would take Felipe, to
I
be
don't-
honest.
yeah, same, mate. I think the will stir up enough excitement for the judges to reward Philippe over
Mm-hmm.
John.
Okay, now here's a good one. Jay Bay.
Whew, oh, geez, I mean, hey, Philippe's deadly. Philippe's deadly at J
Philippe is
Bay. Let's
deadly
face it.
there, dude. I have to take him. I have to. But you can take
Me,
John this year.
me too. Me too. Prefer John's turns when he really lays everything into him. They just look so much more powerful.
Totally.
But I think Philippe's one of the fastest surfers on tour, and to make it through the super tube section, yeah, no, I'll go Philippe, but yeah, it's all about the size of the waves at the moment. But I'll just base it on yeah, he's one, mate.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you basically said exactly what I was thinking, which was speed is all important at J Bay, especially to make the section. And especially the other thing he does is he can crank airs out of that. We all remember the double air combo
Mm,
that he did. He can crank airs and
yeah,
maintain his
that's
speed.
insane.
And John can
Mm,
do that, but I feel like John's more heavy-footed on the turn, like you said, which doesn't
yeah,
necessarily translate. Like, remember, he lost that heat to Connor O'Leary, and it was, but I don't
yeah.
know. It's interesting, man. I'm so curious, but we both took Felipe on that. Now here's this one's the hardest one. Tahiti. I'm just gonna
Let
put a
me think
John
about
right
that
there.
one. Yeah,
I'm
John.
gonna
Yeah,
put a John right there. All right, so let me count
yeah.
the J's and the F's. And you and I flip flopped on one. So one of them I'm gonna give to John, one I'm gonna give to Felipe. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for John, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Felipe. So we've just determined that Felipe is a better surfer than John. I think we need to apologize to him right now.
we not enough waves of consequence on the tour.
Maybe we have done that. But one thing that I forgot about was the finals will be at Cloudbreak. Who do you take there?
Correct.
I think we both take John, and that makes it
I'll take
knotted
John.
yeah, knotted at 6 wins, and it's the finals. And finally, they've got John in his element, Jack Robinson in his element, and a lot of other surfers that we can talk about. But the one thing I think we're missing here is the versatility, the well-roundedness of John being able to win a finals at Trestles and to be a Triple Crown champion, an Eddie champion, a pipe master. Like, John has ticked all those boxes, and I think you can argue he's one of the greatest surfers of all time. He's in that list right there with Kelly. So I don't know. Your thoughts on that, T-Bone?
There's not many surfers that can, like John performs from 1 foot to 20 foot. And if you look at the current CT, there's not that many surfers that can do that. And John's one of them. And that's what makes him one of the best worldwide. As you said, he's versatile and he can perform in all conditions, big or small.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I like is, I have to say, this is a sort of an asterisk side sort of thing, is that the fact that he puts out edits the way he does, and he hired Eric as his photographer, his edits are an intangible that brings up not just his likability is strong, man. All the Florence brothers are trending right now. But the fact that you get to see him free surf and see what he's really about through his edits, like, takes him to another level, man. Like, and only his brother, I think, beats him in that area, which is incredible, that family. Any other thoughts on Felipe? Because we're going to move on to, we're going to talk about the Vans Pipe Masters 2024 in the next video, if you all want to join us. For T-Bone and I. T-Bone, any other thoughts on Felipe?
No, mate. No. Well, listen. I hope he's refreshed and the year off has sort of helped him with whatever mental health problems that he had, or I hope he comes back refreshed and ready to go and in a healthy mindset.
Totally agree with you, and I can't wait to see him thrown in to the mix. And I think we're gonna have a firecracker year next year, with him as a disruptor and all the new events. It's going to be great. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Click on the link in the video to see us talk about the Vans Pipe Masters. Yoo-hoo!